I think it was a very good show. I think it had one fatal flaw.
Okay, we should be good to go. Tim, how are you doing tonight? We had a big Xbox Direct. A lot to talk about. How you feeling?
I'm pretty excited. Yeah, it was pretty good. I think it was a very good show. I think it had one fatal flaw, but yeah, overall very happy, very excited.
Agreed. Yeah, I thought that there was a lot of pretty, uh, you know, obviously the expected things that we thought would be there, like South of Midnight and Doom, as well as Expedition 33. Kind of, again, not to jump into it too far too quick, but I thought there'd be maybe another surprise or two in there beyond the one that we got, but still pretty happy with it. We'll just kind of go through here real quick. We'll give our overall scores for the show at the very end here, but we'll go in order, Tim. I mean, we'll start off at the top with the big surprise that we got, which I thought for a while might be something else, maybe a Final Fantasy reveal for Xbox, something like that. Ninja Gaiden, however you want to say it, 4 is coming out this fall, and it's Team Ninja, which I think is the usual suspect for that. But it's also being developed by Platinum Games. Tim did not see that coming, but it seemed like a pretty interesting and fun surprise. I thought you in particular would like that.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is would have never imagined this. I am unbelievably excited. Platinum has created some of the best action games ever. It's been a while though, so I'm a little bit nervous with with that. But I mean, everything we saw looked absolutely fantastic. This this announcement. So I mentioned Fatal Flaw. To me, I don't you they couldn't top this once they showed this. Like they should have this
Agreed.
should have been the last announcement. Like
Agreed.
I yeah, I don't understand. Like everything else after this was just like even Doom. I was like, well, yeah, it doesn't look as good as Ninja Gaiden. Super excited. The day one drop of Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. I mean, yeah, I mean, this almost makes it a 10 out of 10 just by itself. Yeah, I could talk about this forever. I'm unbelievably excited. It looked great. The action, the speed, the art style. Yeah, wow. Very excited.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely was taken aback. There was a couple rumors I had seen that had maybe alluded to perhaps there being a Ninja Gaiden game here, and I think once I saw Team Ninja, I was like, okay, well, yeah, that's definitely probably what it is. But the Platinum integration with all of it, I thought was really interesting because I think they had kind of gone quiet for a while. It really cool. I know it's a multi-platform game, Tim. They made a point to put PS5 at the end there, but I did think it was cool that Ninja Gaiden kind of going back a little bit to the original Xbox, kind of an Xbox, friendly Japanese title there from them too. So that was kind of cool to see also.
Well, yeah, I mean the OG was an Xbox exclusive. I think two maybe was. I know like at some point I think they had to slap the Sigma name on them to get them on PS3. So I think they did. They were definitely. I think there was like a span of exclusivity, but yeah, to me it's an Xbox IP. It's a franchise that I think of Xbox. If it's on Game Pass, I'm not complaining. I mean, I'm taking that as like two and four are both. I mean, well, I'm already downloading two, so that one I know is on Game Pass. So yeah, not a big deal for me. I'll be playing it through Game Pass, and yeah, just if Platinum can get that Bayonetta, Metal Gear Solid, Revengeance, action juju
Get that feel
going,
to it.
then yeah, we're in for something pretty cool here. Yeah, the sky's the limit.
It's certainly not out of their wheelhouse. I mean, Platinum does those games maybe arguably better than most, and especially since Souls like games are so hot lately. These games aren't Souls like, but they're definitely a fast paced action, and that seems to be, they're striking while the iron's hot with that kind of game lately. I think, which is really cool to see them drop that, and that it's coming so soon, which is also really nice. It was a 2025 date, which I kind of was hoping for, and they dropped it, and that was great. And again, I agree with you though. I don't know why this seemed like it would have been a really really great last thing, but maybe just because it has been so long that they just kind of maybe thought if they put it as the last thing, would all the kids kind of know what Ninja Gaiden is? Maybe that factored into it a little bit. I'm not too sure, but yeah, and like Tim had mentioned too, Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma, excuse me, also out right now. You can go download that game on Game Pass. So
Hmm.
really cool
I actually
stuff.
I
Really,
did.
really cool. I would put, so just real quick to give a score for hype level for that, Tim, I'm at about an 8. I'm assuming you're probably a little higher than that.
Oh yeah, yeah, the 10.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's been too long. Man, if they can hit it, I mean, it's not a guarantee here by any stretch. Platinum's been on a bit of a dry spell. I can't even think of the last Platinum game I even played. Man, I guess it was a Switch exclusive. I forget the name of it. It wasn't bad. It was pretty
Was
good.
it Astral Radiance or
Yep.
Astral something?
Astral Chain. Yeah,
Astral
Astral
Chain.
Chain. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, not Bayonetta, not Vanquish, not Revengeance, but pretty solid. 8 out of 10 style game. But yeah, man, I maybe like Koei Tecmo and Platinum can kind of get some like perfect union together and really nail this, because man, oh, this could be very special.
Yeah, I mean the talent's definitely there, and that studio definitely has the know-how for that. Um, so great. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm at an 8. Tim, you're at a solid 10 for that. So obviously the show is starting off on a very very high note. Um,
Well,
it,
okay, I mean, just in real quick too, like the I don't were you going to talk about the two remake, like the RE5 or the UE5?
Yeah, yeah. I guess we could touch on
Okay.
that real quick. They are gonna. Well, they mentioned that they're gonna go ahead and I guess that they have this Ninja Gaiden 2 remake happening through UE5. I mean, graphics. I can't recall what the 360 version looked like offhand. I'm sure it was a nice looking game, but definitely cool to see that they revamped that one, because that's a totally. I mean, if I go back thinking of the 360 days, back when Xbox was super hot. I mean, that was probably an underappreciated gem at the time. Was that game? Actually, Tim, you got a standee from GameStop from that game, if my memory
Hmm.
serves correct.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I certainly did. Yeah, Ninja Gaiden 1 and Ninja Gaiden 2 are like S tier action games. So I mean that game was drop dead gorgeous for its time. And I cannot wait to check out what they did here. I'm like that's a big deal. That game
Yeah.
coming out, dropping like that. Like I haven't. To be clear, I have not read a single online reaction. I've had a tough week at work, so I read no rumors. I was going into this completely blind, so had no idea. And wow, just yeah, could not have dreamed of this. So
I,
this is a 1-2 punch. That man, yeah, again, I wouldn't have started the show out with this one. I would have ended it with these two, but hey, I'm not complaining.
I was actually afraid, just real quick, I was afraid I'd ruined something for you, because shit, like, was he trying to, were you avoiding any possible spoilers? I forgot that you'd said that you might not be watching it as like live as it happened. So,
I wasn't looking at my phone. So I mean, I saw what you sent, but it was after, so
okay,
no
that's
worries
good.
there.
Yeah, I was hoping that I didn't spoil that part for you. So good.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, I mean, super hype. I mean, I thought about you when I saw it. I'm like, oh, Timmy's gonna be amped for this. So that worked out real well. Uh, so maybe a blessing. I mean, we only really have 4 games to talk about total here. 3 of which the next 3, we know are coming. But got a little bit more info on South of Midnight, Tim. The world looks really cool. The stop motion animation kind of gimmick that they have going on is definitely unique. $40, April 8th. Looks like a cool, fun, like weekend kind of romp, maybe like Hi-Fi Rush size game. And again, it's something that Xbox has been lacking, that third person action adventure game. And I think that the combat looks certainly pretty interesting with like the soul weaving and stuff, and kind of finding that out the backstory to a lot of the enemies that you're facing. Some pretty cool stuff there. Again, the art style, the southern gothic look, which I couldn't tell you what the hell that even means, but it looks like a pretty unique game, Tim. I don't know what your thoughts were on it overall.
Well, I feel bad for it having to follow the Ninja
Yeah.
Gaiden announcements, so that's a tough act to follow. At least for me, maybe other people feel the complete opposite. I don't know. I'm excited for the game. I did not know about the $40 price tag. That's interesting.
Yep.
I mean, I'll be playing it through Game Pass, so I wasn't worried about its price anyway. I like the art style. I'm interested in the story. I don't know much, like you said, about Southern the kind of setting that they're going for, but I'll be there day one more than likely. Looking forward to it. The combat and the systems that they showed, they looked interesting. I can't say they were jumping out and like wowing me by
Right.
any stretch. It seemed like okay, I kind of see what you're going for there. I think there's potential. I didn't see that potential completely in what they showed, but yeah, I'm excited. I liked Contrast. What was their second? What was their other
We happy
game that?
few.
Yeah, yeah, We Happy Few. That one, I didn't dig that one all that much. I did get to the end, but it was kind of a slog for me. But I'm optimistic about this game. I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I started We Happy Few. I probably got an hour into it and then got bored and never touched it again. But for me, South of Midnight is like the first game from them, if that makes sense. Like I'm just like, okay,
Mm.
you guys get a clean slate. I think they were trying some goofy stuff. They're a small team. They're maybe trying to do something a little bit like kooky and different to maybe catch eyes and get purchase, which they did. So to me, I'm definitely very excited. I think that South of Midnight's going to be one of those games that, a lot of people talk about, oh, Microsoft's oversight and, oh, like they're messing these studios up that they're buying and stuff. I feel like this game will be a good example of, a studio that Xbox purchased and kind of fostered, and that they're going to put out something good. It's going to be a good feather for Microsoft to put in their cap, like Microsoft Gaming, as far as like, hey, they were the We Happy Few team, and now they're making this, which, I mean, I think this is going to score pretty well Metacritic wise. Just a initial feeling on that.
I could see that. Yeah, so like you said with We Happy Few, I don't know what happened with that game. It just
Yeah.
seemed like not a great idea. But Contrast, I don't know if you ever get a chance. Contrast is not a long game. There's some really interesting ideas in that game. It had a mechanic where you had to shine lights on the wall, and then like you
Hmm.
you took control of your shadow, and you actually platformed with your shadow on like if you move boxes around. So that game's I don't think it's quite the love that it deserves. It had some very unique, interesting ideas that other games. I'm pretty sure even like Mario Odyssey kind of stole some of the mechanics that they put in that game. So if they can get back to that, I think this game could surprise some people, and I'm be optimistic. They've seemed like they've been given the time and resources to make something cool here, so I hope they do.
Early hype level for that game, you're at a what?
Um, I mean, it's so tough being like I think take it away from Ninja Gaiden's announcements, I'm probably at like an 8, but I mean, it
Yeah.
felt like a 6 or a 7 at the time. Yeah, man, yeah, that's just tough to follow that.
Yeah.
So,
I wasn't I didn't have the red the Ninja Gaiden tinted glasses on, and for me it was still just about a 7. I mean, I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to it. I think it's going to be a good game. Um, I will definitely try it and hopefully finish it, but yeah, I mean, I definitely hope for success and for good scores and for that game to get a lot of hype, because I think Xbox could definitely use a positive little story like that, kind of recreate the Hi-Fi Rush feeling that I think a lot of people
Mhm.
have had.
Mhm.
So, all right, the third and for me probably least interesting game, Tim. I wonder if we'll kind of contrast on this one is Expedition 33. I believe it has a subtitle to it. Way too lazy to tell you what that is. I don't know if you know what it is offhand.
But it's like Claire something. I think, yeah. I don't.
Oh, like Claire Obscure or something like
Yeah.
that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so I ended up getting it, sort of. But a couple notes on this. I really, I'll be honest, it might sound bad, but I didn't pay a lot of attention whenever this game came on. The graphics, I thought the graphics looked incredible, looked really, really good visually. The turn-based combat kind of looks like they're probably taking a page or two out of like Final Fantasy VII, that playbook. I thought that some of the creatures that they talked about looked interesting. Some of the sidekicks that you walk around with there, really interesting design. I mean, it looked like it'd take a lot of time to get through, and I don't know if, probably hundreds of hours, and I don't know if it's the kind of game where I'm like, oh, I got to sink that much time into it and do everything. So I think they're going for a lot. They're taking a big swing with it, but I don't know that I'm all that interested. Tim, maybe you'll feel completely different than I.
Uh, yeah, yeah. It's tough, right? I don't want like a 100-hour RPG. I really hope it's not that.
Mm.
This is a new studio, so like my gut tells me it probably isn't. Just you would think that they wouldn't be able to
For a
build
first
something
timer.
that large. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm excited about it. I think the story's interesting. I think the setting's interesting. It looked like the combat, they kind of personified it. It looked very, the menus on screen and stuff looked like
Mm.
Persona to
Yeah,
me.
Persona's probably a
So
better match. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I will definitely start the game. I definitely am going to play it. I I hope it's not a super long game, but
Mm.
I'm into it. I'm excited. I think yeah, and it's on Game Pass obviously,
Yep.
so no harm in starting it and seeing what you think. But this is one of those unknowns. I
Yep.
don't. What are they going to build? We don't. They don't have a pedigree right now. They're starting out. They're fresh. So again, after Ninja Gaiden, I honestly I could have even the next game we'll talk about. I was just like nothing touched it. So um
Really? Wow,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much more to say about Expedition 33. It comes out April 26th, it looks like. One quick thing, maybe to note that's good, is that Microsoft seems to have remembered that the first half of the year exists this year, which is
Yeah.
nice. So, we got, I mean, forget these 4 games. I mean, we have Avowed coming out next month, which is crazy that it's so soon already. It feels like we haven't talked about that game or really seen anything from that game for a while, which I'm hoping isn't a bad thing. But yeah, I mean, just to put a cap on Expedition 33, I mean, there's a lot of things in there that'll appeal to a lot of people. I just don't know if it's the kind of game that I would sink the time that you need to really get everything out of that for. But just real quick for me, it's like a 6 out of 10 hype wise. I'm not, you know,
Yeah, I maybe like a 7. I am excited for it. I have high expectations, and my hype level is up for it. So yeah, I'd say 7.
cool. We'll take it. The next game and the last game, I am 100% hyped as could be about. That's Doom: The Dark Ages, and man, it feels like it's been no time since I was playing Doom Eternal, and here we are, 4 or 5 ish years later with Doom: The Dark Ages, and man, yeah, there's a lot to be seen there. It's kind of overwhelming at first to try to wrap your mind around all the different new mechanics. The saw shield, as they call it, the shield saw. Looks incredible. Like the heavy metal music just vibe perfectly with all the like the guns and everything. They talked about like 3 different ways like to melee basically, and it was you have the shield saw, you have like a spiked mace, you have another like a weapon or two that you can use, like in addition to all the guns. And just to before I let you go, Tim, on that they mentioned that this game is a if Doom 2016 was a run and shoot, and if Doom Eternal was kind of a run and jump and shoot, this one they're calling a stand and fight Doom game. What's your feel on Dark Ages? I think I know we're gonna go with it, but just what do you think?
Yeah, I liked their mindfulness of kind of what 2016 Doom was, what Eternal was, and then tank. I like to play a lot of my games in a tank style, so I that excites me. That is like, ooh, this looks pretty cool. Like I like to stand there and just slug it out. I noticed like there was a lot of like green projectiles that you could you know like hit back or reflect deflect back to the enemies. And I mean, yeah, this game's gonna rock. Like this was probably the game I was most hyped for out of last year's June show. So I don't want to, again, I know I've been hyping up Ninja Gaiden like crazy, but I'm super excited for this game. Super excited. It's the first half of the year. May is perfect. That's
Agreed.
yeah, like I love yeah, I mean, just to bring it back to what you were saying, like I would have liked an avowed like final preview or something. I
Yep.
wish they would have at least just acknowledged like, hey, you're going to be playing this game in less than a month. I don't really I get it's a dev direct and you did it was in last year's show, so maybe that was the
I
reason.
don't
But I don't know what, like, what's the
I
big
don't
deal?
think anyone would have complained if it showed up at this show either. I don't think it would have been like, oh, why are they showing Avowed again? You might have had some people saying that, but I think it would have been worth it. I mean, especially too because if certain people are afraid that maybe Microsoft isn't afraid of this, but if certain people are afraid that the game's not getting enough attention, I mean, why not just have it show up even like as a preview before this showcase, like be like, hey, before we get to all the cool stuff, like Avowed is coming out. I didn't see how many concurrent viewers, but I'm sure this show had a lot of people watching it, especially with now PlayStation fans have a reason to tune into these shows, and you have their eyes on this
Mhm.
stuff too. So it just seems like would seem like a prime opportunity, but maybe they feel like they've advertised it enough. But I'd probably disagree with that. They did mention, Tim, and this was what kind of had me salivating a little bit, was they went through kind of the basic Doom stuff. There's not, if you play the first two games, a lot of this is going to look pretty familiar, but if you guys know a little bit of the lore behind the ship that Doom guy kind of rolls through the galaxy on, for a long time, and by a long time I mean the last couple games, there's been a huge mech suit kind of hanging on the wall there in the spaceship that you're just kind of thinking, oh man, do I get to use that in this game? And in Doom Eternal you never do, but it sounds like in this game you're going to actually suit up in that mech and fight like skyscraper sized demons. And even like it sounds like you can use like a giant Gatling gun in that mode too. And they did make a point to mention that fighting like that is not going to be a one-off, and that you're going to be able to maybe do that a couple times throughout the game. So I'll throw that at you, Tim, and then I'm going to throw the last thing at you here, which is they called it how'd they say? Oh, like bionic dragons that you'll be able to ride through it, and a lot of like aerial combat scenarios, which is something super different to what we've gotten in Doom games so far. So definitely a lot of different flavors getting thrown into this new game, Tim. That I would be shocked if we don't come out of this thinking that this is the best Doom game of all three of them.
The potential is through the roof, right? Like, I guess it could be risky too if one of these gameplay mechanics don't hit, if the dragon flying isn't as great as it looks, which
Right.
I don't think this is going to be the case for any of them. So yeah, and the fact that they it isn't just a one off, oh, here's a quick side mission, you're going to fight in this mech or whatever. Yeah, that means, that sounds to me like they're taking care of it. They've thought through it. They have ideas to keep it interesting and mix up the gameplay and all that. But yeah, I mean, as long as the badass level is amped to 10 the entire time, yeah, I love it. Bring it on. It's going to be, yeah, you know what they're bringing. And I didn't mind the kind of traversal stuff in Eternal.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it, but apparently I think some people weren't too hot on it. So yeah, this game looks great. Cannot wait to play it. I don't have much doubt about the id's ability to deliver something special. So yeah, man, and yeah, like I do overall too. The fact that the show is like kind of focused on just the first half of the year is really cool to me. That's like something that they could never have done in the past.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how long. So that's great. This year's shaping up to be unbelievable all around for Microsoft and Xbox and PC, and yeah, as you mentioned, PlayStation players, probably Switch players as well. I wouldn't. I suspect this will be. I don't know if it'll be a launch game for Switch too, but it's going to be on there, and it ain't going to take long.
Yeah, it's an interesting point because we did talk a little bit last show about when we thought that the Switch 2 might come out, and May might be it, which would be really really cool. Yeah, I the other thing that the last thing I wanted to mention about Doom was, they also said that this game is going to have cutscenes and there's going to be a story and characters and stuff that you'll, I guess, get to know. Not that it's going to be like an RPG and stuff like that, but that this is going to have kind of like a cinematic element to it, which I think is pretty cool. Actually, I don't mind at all that they try to put like something of a story and some extra characters and maybe bad guys or something and give you a little bit of that like movie feel to it. Do you see it as being a kind of a drawback with that, Tim, or does that sound interesting to you?
I'm indifferent. I just give me the gun that crushes skulls and shoots out the bone chips. I don't. I probably won't pay attention to the cutscenes at all. I'm not going to care. So, just I want to shoot and destroy everything in my path and feel like a badass.
Fair enough. Yeah, definitely agree. Cannot wait. I mean, that game for me, I didn't give it a 10. I guess just because I want to be really strict whatever with my scoring, but I did give that a 9 out of 10 as far as hype. I can't wait to play that game. Definitely the most out of all the ones that they showed. So uh, I didn't do the math on all mine, but I would say, Tim, if I had to grade the show in its entirety, I'm at like a solid 8. So yeah, that's where I'm at on it.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I'm probably. I mean, Ninja Gaiden just yeah. This one is kind of an odd one for me because that just the 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 hype level for that is just it hits different for me. So I mean, I'm at easy like 9.5. If they would have like honestly, if they would have just had Ninja Gaiden as the last announcement, I mean, I probably would have did a 10 because it was a high.
Yeah.
It was a mega high for me, and then it just was like, well, that isn't that. So I don't know. It's tough. My score might not represent most people's thoughts, but yeah, they seem to be poised for a humongous 2025.
Yep.
It looks like it's finally coming together. It took a while.
Long
It took,
time.
it took longer than I would have ever imagined, but yeah, I think we're here, man. And I mean, oh my God, Game Pass. Yeah, I don't. We probably can't talk about it now, but like, man, if you don't have Game Pass this year, I do not know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the obvious. I mean, even if for whatever reason, if you don't like Xbox or you have something against Game Pass, it just seems silly not to, as long as you don't mind not owning the game, but you know, to not treat yourself and to get access to a lot of these. Even if you wait till May whenever Doom comes out, and then you get access to everything else that we talked about here, and that says nothing about the summer or the fall yet. I'm definitely assuming that we're going to get more games probably throughout the year. Like this is, like you said, the first time that Xbox is finally going to kind of deploy that plan they've had for years of, a game a quarter. And certainly now they're exceeding that by leaps and bounds just with this show and Avowed and stuff. I mean, you basically have, if you count Avowed, like five, ish bangers all up until May. So
Yeah,
it's
insane,
yeah.
insane. It, it's it that yeah. And remember, on PC, it's only $13. I mean, if
Right.
you're a PC player, I just don't. I could not under. I can't even understand why you wouldn't have it. But
Yeah.
hey, if you want to own your games, that's cool.
Yep. Agreed. Good stuff, Tim. Appreciate you. Yeah, we'll do this again soon, and good talk tonight.
All right, man. Yeah, yeah. Excited. So, yep. Take her easy.